Welcome back to another epidose of these crazy people that just eat meat and can't stop talking about it. Captain Tom here, just here with Justin.
Hey,
And what are we
hey.
talking about today, Justin?
Hey, we're talking about welcoming our peoples back to the channel. Welcome back to the Meat Mosaic. I am, of course, Justin. That is Tom. He's Captain Tom today for
Captain.
a reason. And I have to start with an apology. We know the grievances. We read your grievances. We actually have a grievance policy here in our virtual office. If I have a grievance, I go to Tom. If Tom has a grievance, Tom goes to Tom. And that's how it goes. Listen, hey, uh, we record on Google Meet or G Meet or Alphabet Meet or whatever Google decides to name this platform whenever people are seeing this. Um, and apparently, Google hasn't gotten the memo that when recording or sharing content, people like to see both people that are a part of the presentation at the same time. You can go ahead and put in a request to Google that you would like this feature. But I was looking at threads from 2020 earlier this evening, and I think people had done that, and Google just doesn't care and is not listening. But we can all keep trying. Or, hey, there's always an alternative, right? You could send us in the links below a little bit of dollary dues, shekels, monies, bitcoins, ethereums, Shiba coins, Doge coins, whatever
Ribeye,
your preference. Which
New
one,
York
Tom?
strip,
New York strip coin. Yeah.
ribeyes.
Ribeyes coin. There you go.
It keeps putting the wrong word in. I say ribeye and it says revised.
Okay, another thing about Google Captions, we're playing around with that tonight as well. But yeah, we do this out of the kindness of our heart. If you want more content, if you want better content, if you want better sound quality, better video quality, it'll highly encourage us if you throw some monies, some of that energy our way. Would be pretty cool. Or you're saying
I didn't
you
get
got
the memo about panhandling.
hey, I well, take it up with our grievance policy. Uh, if you hey, you got a product, you think, hey, I'd really need somewhere to launch this, talk to us. Send us an email, Instagram, Facebook. There's a new Meat Mosaic Facebook
There is.
page now. You can hit us up on there. Of course, Autistic Carnivores up on there. I've got All Out Life Carnivore still on Instagram and Facebook. I need to post more. I get it. We've got Meat Mosaic on X. We've started posting there as well. So plenty of places to meet us, throw money at us, argue with us, disagree, agree. But most importantly, like, share, subscribe, put this on for your animals at home, put it on for your cows on a farm and chicken. I guarantee you it will be the absolute best meat if they spend their life watching us while they're grazing. I'm just saying, or listening.
Natural.
You can download us, you can upload us to like an 8-track. You can throw that on your cow, so that way you ain't got to like plug it into a USB or anything. It's got batteries in it. Sometimes regular old batteries are the way to go. I kind of miss the days where there's more things, right? I could just put in batteries. Like, everything now dies on you, and you've got to recharge everything.
Do you remember the big portable radios, the big ghetto blasters, and
Oh yeah. That took like
60 batteries in the back of that thing?
yeah, it's like 6 or 8, right?
Depends on
Yeah,
how dedicated you are. If you got the big 40-pounder, I think it was 16 batteries.
it was 16.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's pretty good. That is
I'm starting to realize, people in their 20s have never seen a D battery.
there are. I mean, I almost forgot. Or 9 volt. I haven't. I don't think they're even in the fire, or what is it called, the fire alarm. Yeah.
Well, the ones in
Anymore.
my house have the 9 volts still. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't taken apart mine, so I don't know. Might be 9 volt.
yeah, I think C and D have become rare. I know some stores don't even carry D batteries anymore.
Yeah, it's been quite a while since I've seen a D battery. I will admit.
Yeah, somebody gave me a lantern the other day, and it's got a solar panel on the top, so I can recharge. But it's also got a compartment underneath, and it was like D batteries. The first store I went to, they had batteries, had lots of batteries, but they didn't have any
Right.
D batteries. So it was like, they're going extinct on us.
Yeah. Not even C batteries. I don't remember the last time I've seen C batteries. But
Yeah,
what is still around is those little nickel-sized batteries.
coin
Those are still
battery,
pretty popular. Yeah, the coin batteries are still pretty
20,
popular.
yeah, 2032 is pretty popular because they're like in a, your remote for your car.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what else is pretty popular?
What?
Steaks, carnivore diet. People keep talking more and more about it. It's getting more and more popular as the days and weeks and years go by.
It does seem to be growing.
There, we are month 3 into World Carnivore Month. So there you go. I don't really remember my January. I remember it being very cold and frozen and missing a lot of work because it was cold and frozen. I remember I busted out a emergency ribeye. It was an emergency that was like, it's been a while since I've been able to get to the store. I think I better eat this emergency ribeye. So
Was
I
it
cooked
in the
that
deep
up.
freeze?
It was in the deep freeze. Yeah.
Gotcha.
What else is popular? It's chickens and eggs. Still, prices not great. Still, supplies are a bit low. Um, but I had an interesting thought. So I listened to other people, other content, and there's a particular channel. Shout out to Pleb Media for the probably nobody that's going to know who that is, but if you do, you are super cool. Shout out to Pleb Media. Who was talking about on a stream that he had a person come over to his place, and I guess he's got some chickens, and the person asked him, "Hey, are your chickens free range, humane, certified?" And he looked the guy square in the face because the chicken had just walked by him eating some bugs, and he's like, "Well, no, because I don't want to pay the money to the government to get that certified. But I mean, like, you can clearly see that my chickens are like, pasture raised. Like, I don't, the feed around here, my grass is organic. Like, the bugs, I'm not doing anything to my field or where the chickens are." He's like, I'm not paying the fee. And, if you need the government to tell you if a chicken is free range or not, we have to have a completely different conversation at that point. So I thought that was kind of funny and interesting. How, like, food labels, I get it. I am a huge food label person. I read on everything I buy pretty obsessively. And I think I knew this, but it had been a while before it'd come to the forefront of like my brain. Just cage free has such a wide meaning. Apparently in some states, so like for people that don't know, there are these regulatory laws passed in each state for food. That's probably not surprising to people. But many people may also think that it's all controlled federally. It's actually not controlled federally. A lot of this is actually done at the state level. Yes, we do have the USAD, but they're kind of more safety and not so much into like organic labeling, non-GMO labeling, free range, pasture raised, all that fun labels, right? All
Mhm.
that is actually enacted at the state level. And so it actually varies state by state, the requirements for the application process, because it is an application process for whatever producer of eggs or meat or whatever to get that label. They're paying extra for that. And so in a couple of places, California, I know passed one in 2018 about free range. And it was something like as long as they have like a 1 foot outside square, as long as they've got like 1 foot out of the cage, square foot out of the cage, then that's a free range cage free chicken or something like that. Like it's really kind of asinine. It's better. It's a step in the right direction. Pasture raised actually has pretty good standards for that. It's like 144 square feet per chicken that they have to have for pasture raised. Now, I don't know how exactly they like divide that up on X amount of property. I'm sure, obviously not every chicken's going to have like this like whomping, prairie land of space. Um, and so the reason why I brought this up is, to save us money, because if you look at your state and you look at the laws for like cage free or free range or something like that, and then you notice that either it's not descriptive at all or it's something like 1 foot out. I don't know. Maybe it makes sense just to save the little extra couple bucks and buy just the regular caged chickens and the eggs if it's not making that huge of a difference. That's obviously a moral and financial decision on you. But I figure here it's time, we try to educate. And so I'd kind of forgotten that little caveat. And the same with grass fed, grain finished, natural preservatives, all these are, they're more legalese terms than they are a state of product. Now there's certain third party organizations that do their own labeling that certain producers can get as well. And you can check and look at their requirements. There's the label of humane as well, which has some more stringent standards. I just am trying to assist people that get all giddy over free range, cage free, whatever it might be. And it's like, is it worth it? And and this can go to a bigger conversation of, and this, ever since there was the quote unquote carnivore diet, there has been the grain fed CAFO meat versus grass fed grass finish. And there are certain people in this space that are saying, oh, it's got to be organic meat through and through, it's got to be grass fed, otherwise you're getting all these PUFAs in you and you're actually become more sick and you can't do it long term. And that hasn't been my experience, and to my knowledge that has not been Tom's experience. Tom and I think share the opinion on this, that hey, if you can afford and you like the taste of grass finished organic, grass fed, grass finished meat, go for it. That's awesome. But if you can't, Tom and I have both had amazing results on just Sam's Club, Walmart meat, KFO, the quote unquote toxic meat or whatever, I guess you could say, the spiritually, what is it the vegans say, it's like the traumatized animal that when you eat it, the trauma is in your veins and you're going to have nightmares, so it's kind of along that same vein. And
Yeah, I don't think the cows get too traumatized when they're going in, because they don't know what's going on, and it's all been carefully designed. If you guys follow the work from Temple Grandin, the work she put into keeping the animals calm and happy, and then they pop them in the head with a captured bolt gun, made famous by that movie No Country for Old Men. Did you see that?
Yeah. It's a great film.
Yeah. So they hit him in the brain with that, and then it's lights out. They do still sometimes the legs still move like they're walking, but that's because those circuits are in the spine, in the back of the spine of the cow. So sometimes they'll keep walking, but the lights are out. They're not aware of what's going on. So, but I mean, and I think Justin and I both agree that like if you could buy your meat directly from a farmer, get a local, get it all grass fed, and all the better. It's just not practical for everybody. Although it's getting easier and easier, cow share and more ranchers are promoting so that you know where to buy directly from them. You could buy, like Emily used to go drive over to a farmer and get a bunch of meat, right?
Right.
You can buy quarter or half. Some places even hang it for you, and you just go in and have them wax them off as you need it. So some have private lockers for them, stuff like that. So don't live close enough to anybody to get that. There's a place nearby where you can get the whole shebang at one time, but I don't have that kind of freezer space. So, but maybe someday. I'm certainly not opposed to it.
Well, kind of interesting. One of the Costco's, not the Costco closest to me, but one that is, within reasonable driving distance, they have whole lamb just hanging there like meat locker style, and down one of the Costco aisles. It's pretty interesting. So
if you go to the business centers, they have whole animals. Yeah, and they have 55-gallon drums of olive oil if you need that. Or if you like to do an olive oil plunge once in a while, moisturize.
So it is closer and more accessible than people think. I think what holds a lot of people back is what holds me back is if I could budget the financial part, I think that would be the biggest barrier, the freezer part, because that is a lot of meat.
There is one
place
company
to store it
that you pay up front for half a cow or whatever, and they send you a freezer. So, I forgot the name of it, but I think I saw them on Instagram or Facebook. So I'll try and make a note of it next time I see them. So now what about, I was going to talk about electronics for a little bit, right? Because way back in the beginning, I was like, did a lot of testing. So first, of course, was testing glucose because that was easy. I probably did 1,000 finger sticks in the first few years easily. And then of course, started testing ketone levels. And I don't have any. I still have a ketonics. Do you remember the ketonics?
No, I don't ever.
So it was
that one.
a USB based device that you plugged into your PC and then measure ketones in your breath. So, and it seemed to work pretty good. I haven't used it in a long time. Me, I love data, but after a while, you're like, I've got all this data. I know what I need to know. So you stop testing. But then I kept seeing all the ads for Lumen, right? I know people who were testing it or said they were promoting it anyways. So I was like, I'll give it a try. And I also, somebody gifted me a keto meter that's supposed to just measure the ketones that you're exhaling. It's a little handheld portable device, unlike the ketonics one that I had that was you had to plug into a PC basically to run the software. So anyways, I found the data from both completely confounding. They were contradicting each other, and they didn't seem to jive with what I was eating. So I was like, I gave it about a 2 month. It was about 2 months. um, of checking, 3-4 times a day, and eventually just went, it wasn't working for me for whatever reason. There didn't seem to be any coherence to what was going on and what it was reporting. And of course, with Lumen, they want to give you a lot of dietary advice on what to eat, and it's not really geared for carnivore. You can kind of extrapolate it to carnivore, let's say, but it's kind of more for people who eat a general sort of diet, and want to know. And it actually doesn't measure ketones; it measures CO2 that you're exhaling. So I thought it'd be an interesting experiment to compare one device that actually measures ketones in the breath or acetone in the breath and one that measures CO2 from, theoretically from metabolizing your food. So, but anyways, I got nowhere with it. I'm not saying I wouldn't try again some other time. I was curious, like I said a million times, I love data, but I couldn't really get any meaningful data out of it. It didn't seem to track.
So does it tell you what, it's measuring the CO2 and it's supposed to predict what you're eating or how you're metabolizing based on that measurement?
Yeah, it's extrapolating what you are metabolizing based on how much CO2 you expel.
Now, does that mean that protein and fats expel X amount of CO2 comparatively to broccoli or a piece of cake? I would assume.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. There wasn't a lot of information. It's like they don't even really talk about. You have to look it up and go, how does it work? And then you read and go, oh, it's measuring CO2 levels in your breath. That's it. So,
I mean, because I would imagine if you're exercising or just got done exercising, your CO2 would go up.
yeah, and I think it must be trying to measure the ratio of CO2 to other gases in your breath, I would imagine. So I don't know, but I couldn't get any sort of reliable data out of it.
So were you using the ketonics and that at the simultaneously, or that
No,
and
it's not the ketonics. It's another brand. It's called like Keto Meter or something like that. Somebody gave me,
okay.
and yeah. So that's the thing. You could be fasting, and it would still say you're burning carbs. You could eat a bunch of fat, you'd still say you're burning carbs, and then all of a sudden ketones would be like, you're in danger. And it's like, what? Ketones are too high. I was like, I don't know. So you go from very little ketones to 1,500 parts per million or something. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And they both have calibration processes when you start them up. So yeah, and the Lumen, you could only use it when you're paying for the subscription.
Oh, okay.
I forget how much it was, but yeah, it's useless without the subscription. The keto meter doesn't require any subscription at all. It just gives you an actual number. It has an app. They both have apps you put on your phone, and then I'll have to put the link to the keto meter in the notes or something. It also had an app, but it also has a display on the side that tells you how many parts per million you're exhaling. Whereas the Lumen is just a black semi-cylindrical object with an on-off button. That's all it has. There's nothing else on it. So they both seem well made. The Lumen's kind of high end. It cost me like double what the other one was that somebody gave me. And it seemed well made, but the data didn't seem to really be useful. So their suggestions weren't useful for me anyway. So I don't know if I'm going to do another experiment. I'm just going to go back to directly testing blood. Although I might hit that ketonics again, dig it out and see if it's still supported. I don't even know if they're still around. To be honest with you, they probably
Well,
are.
yeah. I mean, when I started, I still have it laying around here, but the Keto Mojo is what I used, and it's a
Mhm.
finger stick.
Yeah, I have a keto mojo. I don't have any strips right now, but
Yeah, the strips are, well, the ketone strips are quite costly. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I did that. Did a bunch of tracking with that too. I think it's got to be, I don't know, one of the bigger stores is selling ketone urine strips, or like one of those testers,
Mhm.
which are pretty popular.
Mhm.
Never done it. I might do it just to do it, because getting up and pricking your finger is kind of a pain. And then
Mhm.
later in the day, just like, you go to work and people are like, "What are you, a diabetic?"
Just for the record, the ketonics is still available.
Oh, okay.
So they
Hey,
have it.
ketonics, if you see this video and you want some promotional, there you go. Shout
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I mean, like Sean, I would always say I tell him, oh man, well, this level, that level. It's like, well, which one tells you you're healthy? You know? And then and I'm like, well, I like data. And he's like, all right, well, let's keep collecting your data. Let me know. So,
Now, Tom, would you invest in a CGM? What do you think about CGMs? Quite popular in the space.
well, the sensors are crazy expensive and you need a prescription.
Aren't there some manufacturers now that have it like without a prescription? I mean, if you could get Ozempic without a prescription, uh, maybe you could get one of those. I swear that like there's a few like over the counter ones now.
There could be, but not that I know of, but sure, maybe somebody's selling them. So, I don't know. I mean, I got my blood work done and I wasn't even fasting and my glucose was like 80 or something like that, 76.
Right.
So I, I don't know. I mean, if I, well, can you think of a scenario where you'd want data from a CGM? You want to know whether strip loins or ribeyes raise your blood sugar more?
I suppose. I mean, I don't know. I was thinking of more uh shenanigans. I mean, it would be kind of interesting. Well, I mean, stress, right? So like stress, maybe it would tip you off to like getting a cold or something. Um, or if you're just not feeling great one day, maybe the CGM will have like a clue as to possibly a reason why, what your body's kind of doing. I don't know. I just think that data
Just some
might be
data.
kind of just
What's it going
data.
down?
Yeah. Or stay flat. See if it's as flat as people say.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a guy on Instagram that he does glucose readings after he eats different foods. It's interesting. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but I do stop and watch his videos because it is interesting to see how people are affected. And I heard more and more. It seemed like there's more pushback towards low carb and stuff like that. And I hear more and more comments like carbs are your friends and stuff like that. And then these people always seem to leave out things like um, A1C scores, right? Because clearly, if your A1C score is high, you have a lot of damaged red blood cells, right? That's not
Right.
good. So that's definitely too much carbohydrate. And I even heard somebody defending insulin. They're like, well, insulin is, makes you feel satisfied and helps you eat less. But and he did it in defense of carbohydrates. And it's like, well, carbohydrates, we all know, are much easier to overconsume than fats and proteins. And the satiety signals from fat in particular is way stronger than just insulin from carbohydrates. So I don't know. I hear the pushback, and I don't think that everybody should never eat a carbohydrate again, and we all tolerate them to different degrees. But it remains a fact that A1C scores are very important for your health and predicting your long-term outcomes. So at the very least, keep an eye on that, right? And because the average red blood cell lives like 90 days or so before it's replaced. And so, you're seeing the A1C number is the actual percentage of red blood cells that have been glycated or caramelized by glucose in the bloodstream. And that's something you want to keep an eye on. And if you got a great A1C and, you're eating carbohydrates, more power to you. If you feel good and you're healthy, that's fine. But they're not required. There's no essential carbohydrate, so you don't need it. And of course, we've all known people that are addicted to them. We have a hard time stop eating them, and their health suffers as a consequence. But certainly that's not everybody. Some people can just moderate and they're fine.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I heard a rumor, well, maybe it was more like read a rumor, that currently our president of the USA, is requesting now his cheeseburgers without the bun.
What?
Yeah, you hadn't heard that yet? Yeah.
Low carb has made it all the way to the president.
Possibly.
All right. It's good. It's good. I mean, I'll support that. No bun.
Yeah. Ooh, speaking of internet controversies. So I think we shared before that a few fast food chains were talking about frying their French fries in tallow.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being Shake Shack. And I guess it's come out, though, that I guess they fry the fries and then they're frozen and then refried at the restaurant. And I guess someone got onto that when they fry them at the factory or wherever they're getting them from, they're still fried in like some kind of seed oil. And then when they're fried at the restaurant, they're fried in tallow, I guess. I don't know if that's confirmed or not confirmed. But yeah, so yes, of course, Tom and I are, caution against eating French fries, period. However, I support in the right direction. But it's just a key to always be cautious. Just like the free range eggs or the cage free eggs, what's on the label, what's being advertised may not exactly be the entire truth. And that does not mean that the that a company is being openly or wanting to be malicious or anything like that. I think these are old ideas to us, but new ideas to the modern world. And they've got to keep people employed, and they've got to maintain cost effective, and they may not just know how to do that yet and keep operations running as is. So stay tuned. If you're excited about that, maybe be a little less excited. Maybe get to the reason of why you want to eat French fries. I get it; they're delicious. I've eaten my gallons of French fries with ketchup, I'm sure, over my years.
Sure.
Last time I had French fries, it must have been 21. Yeah. In Mount Shasta, there was a place that. Now, I didn't ask the cook or ask anyone, but supposedly it was advertised on the menu of fries fried in duck fat. So I had a couple of those with some friends.
I've never been to a Shake Shack. I didn't even know if they were in California, but naturally I've heard people mention a Shake Shack before. It comes up in movies and conversations.
Right.
But they are in Southern California. So apparently there's one in Rancho Cucamonga. Oh, yeah,
Right.
it's at Victoria Gardens. And there's one in Brea. There's one in Redlands. So they are here.
Yeah, they're here in the Midwest in a big way, I
Oh,
would
okay.
say. Yeah,
Looks like they
I've
got it.
eaten I've eaten there once.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's just a hamburger place, right?
Yeah. It's just a burger restaurant.
Yeah.
I need to go around comparing all the restaurants here to In and Out.
Hmm.
The Shake Shack, the Sonics, the Whataburger. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I don't think we have here. What a burger.
Yeah.
So, I know Five Guys gets compared to In and Out a lot, and they are
Five
kind
Guys is
of
good.
similar.
I wouldn't say that they're similar as it is. They both have that really nice beefy taste to their patties. I don't know
Mm.
how else to describe it besides that. And both of them are probably the easiest to order, like low carb. Now, of course, the biggest problem with the Five Guys is I believe they're grilled in on the peanut oil. Maybe, I think. Maybe only the fries are made in the peanut oil. I don't remember.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, there might be some peanut oil exposure there. But you can order stuff in a bowl, and it's like $2.25 currently an extra patty, which
Where?
isn't at Five Guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, which isn't bad
I've been
comparatively.
there maybe 2 or 3 times in my whole life. I mean, they're relatively new around here,
Right.
and I never got in the habit of eating there. I was only went there because other people went there, and I didn't have a problem with it. But it doesn't come to mind generally when I'm thinking about getting a burger. So, but it's good to know they come in a bowl.
Yeah, you can order a bowl. They'll ask you, well, they've kind of been slacking around here, but usually if you ask for a bowl, they ask you if it's due to an allergy. Um, I don't know what exactly they do differently if you say yes, but you're free to say yes, and they mark that. Good on them.
Maybe
Um,
they're just extra careful that it doesn't come in contact with bread or something. I don't know.
yeah. And then it's currently, I believe, 225 an extra patty. I miss the days when it was $1.50 an extra patty. Those really good days. Um, so yeah, fantastic, easy place to get carnivore meal on the go.
Yeah, and back to, the comments about eating grass-fed meat, which we're not opposed to, and I do get some of my meat is grass-fed, grass-finished, organic. Um, but plenty of people did really well just buying burger patties at fast food restaurants,
Mhm.
you know. And as we know, a lot of them might have vegetable oil on the grill, you know. So
Right.
there's some there, but not I think some of the restaurants don't put any oil on the grill. They just, they're not necessarily adding tallow, but they're just using the fat in the meat to cook it.
Right.
It's just the fat that comes out of the meat on the grill. So depends on, of course, what else they cook in a restaurant. But I think a lot of fast food places don't. They're not like pouring vegetable oil on the grill.
Well, I
Some
mean,
might be.
which is ironic, right? Because if you go to like a prime steakhouse, they throw olive oil usually on the steak, right? While they're cooking it. So you're actually in an odd way safer, less exposure to plant oils at your local fast food restaurant than you are a typical high-end steakhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, true that. I mean, it was a habit to sort of baste steaks with olive oil. So in restaurants, so yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if you're eating out, you might want to ask about that. Maybe you
Mhm.
can ask them if they put vegetable oil and stuff. I know one time when I first started carnivore, I went out to dinner with family and stuff, and that you order a dinner and you're like, you eat the meat and you're like, you're hungry, and then you're like, well, there's some vegetables on the plate, so I was kind of picking at it. But pretty soon I was like, oh, these are cooked in vegetable oil, and I'm starting to get heartburn already. It's like nice. So
Right.
yeah, do you remember that time we went to Longhorn And we're like, can we just get the rack of ribs with nothing?
Yeah.
She charges for a kid's meal. Awesome.
Yeah.
Just to get a rack of ribs with no sides. It was awesome. It
Was
didn't pay through the nose.
Yeah.
So
That was awesome. Funny enough, I remember the last time I ate broccoli.
oh really?
It was like December of, yeah, it had to be December of 2019 was the last time I ate broccoli. And like it hurt. Like I remember instantly having like stomach distress, like while eating it. And like normally, so like I had, I'd been on like a health kick for a while, but I wasn't like consciously low carb or carnivore. So when I would go to like a restaurant with friends, I would typically order like the vegetables or the fruit as the side because as society told me that is what was healthy, right?
Mhm.
And so I remember going carnivore for a while and was like, oh, you know what? Let me see what happens if I eat this broccoli. And it just did not feel like instant regret. I don't remember feeling too bad after or what that felt like. But I do not have a desire to eat vegetables. I don't know how people are like, oh man, I really want to eat some vegetables. Like that is not me. I don't think it's ever been me. Um, and so that's just not, especially a broccoli. It's just no, not appealing.
Yeah, broccoli was always one of my lesser favorites, and I only ate it when it came with something and everybody was eating it, kind of thing. But there was a period of time when before my arthritis got really bad, where I was trying to eat healthy, and I would make these fancy salads for lunch to take to work, and I made them for my wife at the time. And then I noticed all the containers were disappearing, and I was
Mhm.
like, hey, where's all the containers? She's like, oh, I must have left it at work. And finally it came out she was selling my salads and then going and buying fast food with the money. And people wouldn't give her the containers back.
That's
So,
pretty funny.
but I would grill like chicken breast and sirloin, so there was
Sure.
meat in the salad, but it was all the other crap, the
Right.
bean sprouts and garbanzo beans and all kinds of vegetables in there and stuff like that. And of course, I'm sure there's something in the salad dressing though, the vegetable oil and the salad dressing and stuff like that was a problem.
Oh, you
So,
went fancy and doing the
oh,
balsamic vinaigrette.
sometimes, yeah, for sure.
You were high class. You were doing it right if you were throwing balsamic vinegar on your salads.
Right.
That meant you were hardcore. Or the other way you could get away with was Tahiti.
Yeah, tahini, sure.
Pretty
Mhm.
cool. It used to make you so cool. Well, at least it did in my
Mm,
group.
mm,
But like,
yeah.
you got shamed for eating ranch, but if you had balsamic vinegar, you were in the club. You were
Mhm.
respected.
Yeah, I mean, when I started keto, that was a big thing, was making your own salad dressing. So like the recipe for ranch, you'd make ranch dressing with olive oil, expensive olive oil, the right seasonings. Which apparently, I don't know if it's true, but my sister says that ranch dressing was invented in Iowa, and they're very proud of the ranch dressing.
Oh.
And I want to say it was, I don't know, the name was something like the Power Sisters or Strong Sisters. No, not the Strong Sisters. That's someone else. But so, anyways, they had a recipe. They were from Iowa, and they had a recipe on how to make ranch from scratch. And I used that for a while. It was actually really good, but I don't eat vegetable oil anymore. And I don't even season my food. My friend cooked up some marinated chicken the other day,
Uh-huh.
and I thought, oh, this is gonna be awesome. But the seasoning was so strong on it, like
Uh-huh.
I got tired of smelling it after a while.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. I mean, I don't really use hardly any seasoning anymore at all. I just eat plain steak. Unless it's really dry, like I overcook it, or it's just a real dry piece of meat, then I might put something on it to make it a little more appetizing because I'm not gonna waste it. but I eat mostly just plain steak. In fact, I was cutting the ribeyes off the bone today because I bought some ribeyes on sale,
Nice.
and there was little bits of meat to shave off the bone, because
Yeah.
you can't just do one pass, and get it free. So I was standing there, I was like, damn, this meat just right off the bone is so good, just raw, just it's delicious. So why would you put anything on it?
Perfect as is, no doubt. Well, just like perfect as is, I think this epidose is perfect as is. What do you
Yeah.
say we wrap it up, eh?
Yeah.
There,
All right.
Captain Tom.
Captain Tom says, "Hey, okay, aye,
Aye.
aye. You like the new background?
I do like the new background.
I forgot I made it, and then I forgot to try it. So like, oh man, I better sneak that in there. I think it looks pretty sharp.
Yeah, it does. What is hidden under, like behind you? The white
It says
lettering on X and YouTube. Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, by the way, I have started uploading some videos to X directly. So in the past, I would put links back to YouTube, but you can just upload them directly to X. So that kind of makes more sense. I'm just uploading the raw video file. So, there's not like a bunch of context unless I add something in a comment, but haven't really had time to do that yet. So if you're a big fan of X, formerly known as Twitter, you can find Meat Mosaic there. You can find the new Meat Mosaic account on Facebook. And of course, you can find me and Justin on Facebook with our regular accounts. And then we're on Instagram and YouTube, of course, is like kind of been the core of it from the beginning. I don't know how long. I'm not even sure how many years it's been we've been putting videos up, or I started by myself and then met people and had lots of different people on. Justin's been sort of one of the, there's like a pigeon or something outside my window. And now there's
the show.
So it's sorry. I don't know if you guys could hear, but it was really loud there for a second. But so anyways, yeah, so you started on YouTube and then of course, try to push it out into other platforms. Of course, I still have an account on Minds. You ever go to Minds?
Oh man, it's been forever since it's been on mine, sadly. Mine was blowing up on there too.
I was posted on there. I don't know that it really got any traction, so but hopefully we'll automate it and start pushing out the content to the other platforms and stuff like that. So I basically just have a few hours a week to devote to this. So there's not a lot of promoting of the videos as much as I'd like anyways. So anyways, feel free to post them around for us.
Yeah. Spread them around.
Maybe you gotta set a goal, Justin. You gotta post at least one a week. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah.
You can do that.
I think it's doable.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. We appreciate you listening in, and hit us back with some comments. Let us know what you want to what kind of topics you want to get covered on. Let us know how your availability on free range chickens and grass finished cattle is. We'd like to know. I'm sure other people would like to know. We could probably start doing a little more networking when it comes to the availability of stuff like that. So, but until next time, whatever you do, don't
fall down
the
carb hole.